Everything was going perfectly. They had long conversations where everything seemed to fall into place perfectly. It felt right to be in his company. Even before she had time to figure things out, she was already head over heels for the stranger. But she didn't know much about him. But when she was with him, everything seemed to fall into place. Who knew? Maybe he was the one. Little did she know about the deep secret he was hiding from her. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode. For those of you who swooned over crazy rich Asians, here's a real-life version of that, although a little bit fast-tracked. Before we get on this crazy love roller coaster, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on that little bell icon so you'll never miss an episode. Nguyen Van Anh was born to a middle-class family in Vietnam. Her family didn't have much money, but they had enough. Her mom and dad both worked very hard to give her a good education, and Van Anh was not going to waste their efforts. There was no doubt about it. Van Anh was a smart young lady. Her interests were in maths and science, and she was always fascinated by the advances of the era. Her curious mind was filled with questions which her smart brain always managed to find answers to. Her family lived modestly, but Van Anh could not ask for anything more for her life. She loved the life she led and adored her parents. Her academic life was breezing through, and promising career opportunities awaited her. Once in a while, just as all young girls did, Van Anh would daydream about the day when she would meet the one. He'd sweep her off her feet and take her away into a fairy tale dream. Flowing white dresses, bright lights, soft music lulled her away into a fantasy. She was a gorgeous girl, and that meant that she had plenty of suitors. There were many admirers she could have added to her daydream, but none of them caught her eye. Van Anh was searching for something that was more than skin deep. Van Anh was a practical young girl. She knew that not every guy whose eye she so frequently caught would give her a dream come true. She was careful to steer clear from the numerous boys who chased behind her for her appearance. For most of her life, Van Anh stayed single. Occasionally, there was someone who would get her attention, but those relationships never really led anywhere. Van Anh was on a quest for true love, and she was yet to be swept away by Prince Charming. The years went by, and Van Anh passed out of school with flying colors. She retained her love for science and decided that that was the way to go for her future. With that in mind, she enrolled at the Hanoi University of Science and Technology. As we mentioned, Van Anh was a smart young woman. This, combined with her dedication and hard work, allowed her to breeze through college. Her family was so proud of her as she aced through her exams and graduated in 2015. Within a year of graduating, Van Anh managed to secure a good job. All her hard work was now starting to pay off. An excellent degree and a successful career. What more could a smart young woman want in her life? Despite all this success, Van Anh had this nagging, gnawing feeling in her. Something was missing in her life. She did not know what it was, but she didn't feel as if everything was perfect. Van Anh had yet to find out that within the mere span of 2 years, her life would be perfect beyond her wildest imagination. Sometime in May 2016, Van Anh was casually scrolling through Facebook, and this was how she stumbled upon her prince in disguise. Going through some photos of her idol, she noticed a man in the background. Something about him stopped her in her tracks. Who is this man? She wondered. Van Anh couldn't get the picture out of her mind. The guy in the background had caught her attention like no one ever before. Wanting to know about this mysterious man, Van Anh messaged her idol, asking to be introduced to the man. And so, the wheels of fate started turning. Van Anh's idol gave in to her request. The two were connected and the conversations began. Things were slow at first, since Van Anh was wary of the pitfalls of online relationships. The mysterious man's name was Dang Tuan. He messaged Van Anh and admitted that he wasn't close to her idol, but was told about her request. It was just sheer luck that he was in the background of a photo that Van Anh stumbled across. Of course, she let things get a little bit ahead of herself in her mind. Van Anh wondered what it would be like to walk arm in arm with this young man she just met. She wondered how things would be if they weren't meeting each other through some device screen. She was a little nervous as well. One too many times, She had heard stories from her friends about online scandals. Most of the online relationships was a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Some had even turned out to be downright criminal and life-threatening. As the days went by, the two got more and more comfortable chatting with each other. As it turned out, they had so many likes and dislikes in common and got along really well. Tuan was nothing short of a perfect gentleman, and Van Anh was growing rather fond of him. So many a times, Van Anh wondered, was he the same person in real life? Was he as charming, kind and smart outside of Facebook? Or was all this just fake? But despite all the apprehensions, Van Anh was falling for this mysterious man. But Tuan never really said much about himself. All Van Anh knew about him was that he worked in some factory based in Russia. She assumed that he was not from a family of means, but that meant nothing to her. The months of chatting had brought the pair closer than ever. Van Anh was not one to chase behind material things. The conversations had shed light on Tuan's personality enough for her to fall for him. The more she got to know him, the deeper she fell for him. Van Anh wasn't the only one falling head over heels. Tuan was amazed by this girl he came across. She was unique in her wonderful ways. She listened to him well and genuinely cared for him. Most importantly, she cared more about the depth of his heart and soul than the depth of his pockets. 10 months was all it took for these two to seal the deal. When Tuan proposed to her, Van already knew her answer. They were meant to be together. 10 months or 10 years was not going to change that fact. Van Anh didn't know much about this man who proposed marriage to her, but in her heart, she knew that he was her soulmate. Despite the long-distance relationship, she was certain she was deeply in love with him. Unfortunately though, her parents were not too keen to jump the ship. They wanted nothing short of the best for their daughter and were skeptic about some man she'd met online whisking her away. Added to that, she had known him for less than a year. Tuan understood her parents' hesitance. He immediately flew over to Vietnam to convince Van Anh's parents that he was serious about marrying their daughter. No strings attached, he was just a man in love wanting to spend the rest of his life in the company of his beloved. Van Anh's parents were beyond surprised, but they realized that Tuan's feelings were genuine and he truly loved their daughter. After receiving her parents' blessings, the happy couple began their wedding planning. It was Van Anh's turn to be surprised. To her amazement and delight, Tuan had booked a 5-star hotel in Hanoi for the event. He had gone to extensive lengths to prepare a lavish ceremony that was nothing short of her dream wedding. But how were they going to pay for all of that? Despite her delight, Van Anh was worried that they would have to start their new life drowned in debt. She was happy with a simple ceremony that fitted their budget. As long as she got to spend the rest of her days with Tuan, she didn't mind anything else. And that was when Tuan revealed his biggest secret. He was a millionaire. The simple guy she met online turned out to be crazy rich. It turned out that Tuan was a successful businessman, managing a famous international clothing brand. Van Anh was a little taken aback with the revelation. Tuan apologized to her for all the lies. He admitted that he had his reasons for keeping his wealth a secret. One too many times, wealthy people were snatched off by partners who only loved the wealth and privileges. On his quest for true love, Tuan was forced to hide his real identity. Van Anh quickly understood his reasons. It was fair for him to be worried about something like that, but in her mind, it didn't change a thing. She had fallen for that charming man who spoke to her so kindly. She loved the man who flew to Vietnam to take her hand in marriage. Rich or not, he was the one she wanted to spend the rest of her life with. The happy couple now has 2 beautiful children. For both Van Anh and Tuan, life was now perfectly complete. Their strange rollercoaster love story was now taking a stroll in the sweetest moments of life. What would you have done if your online date proposed to you? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.